So I throw on the Legendary Drops live stream and I'm listening to it. But I'm listening, and one of his chatters is like, hey, I'm a law student. And I am actually putting together this like lawsuit or this like petition or whatever the hell it is against Ubisoft. And he was like, can I get it to you? And there were some issues, but he finally got it to him. And he was like, hey, would you react to my lawsuit? And Legendary Drops is like, yeah, I'll do it. Opens up the thing. Thing's like 100 pages or something like that. He's scrolling. And Legendary Drops is like, my guy. What? And he's like, okay. He's like, I'll tell you what, because he's a man of his word, but it was really long. And he's like, I tell you what I'll do. I will skim this lawsuit. I'll skim what you got going on here and react to it because you asked me, right? And I was like, cool. I'm down. He's a man of his word. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, it got interesting. And it got interesting in a way that I was not prepared for. So my ears perked up, and let's get it going here. My ears perked up right around this point in time. And Legendary Drops, listen to this. Listen to this. I think I've got the right moment here, but this is such a great, ready?
Bones for pursuant of copyright law, okay, and unrelated to license agreements. And unrelated to license agreements, this is supported by the same disclaimers that are being used when other entities have logos present at the end of their advertisements. See Exhibit 2.
Wait for it. There it is.
I never thought about that.
Ready? This is so good.
When you buy a video game, and when you pay for a video game, when you buy a video game,
so good.
You don't have access to readily available terms of service or end user license agreements until you have already purchased the game.
Okay. Did you guys hear that? Let's back it up a little. Let's
have already purchased the game. And unrelated to license agreements by the same disclaimers that are being used. And unrelated agreements, this is supported by advertisements. See, I never thought about that. When you buy a video game, and when you pay for a video game, when you buy a video game, you don't have access to readily available terms of service or end user license agreements until you have already purchased the game.
Dude.
So the knowledge of you not owning it, or like how they have the language in there to say that you need to delete all copies of the game when they get rid of, when they stop supporting it. All of that stuff is actually behind the purchase, not before it, when those things should be disclosed before point of sale. The problem is that the video game industry, by and large, gets a...
So, I had never thought of that either. And when he said that, I thought to myself, every time I've bought a house, which is twice, every time I've bought a vehicle, which is many times at this point, that how can you, because as far as I know, there are legal protections in place that say you cannot agree. You go rent an apartment, you cannot agree as a customer, as a purchaser, as a consumer, whatever word you want to use, to hand over your money to a legally binding agreement until that agreement has been presented to you and also explained to you. And yet, the games industry has been hiding what they consider legally binding agreements behind the point of sale for a decade and a half at this point, 2 decades. You do not know what you are agreeing to. And in this case, the Skull and Bones thing, because Ubisoft updated their end user license agreement, said that if they decide to take it offline, you must destroy all copies of the game as soon as they get rid of it, as soon as they no longer support it. And supposedly, you're legally obligated to do that. However, you don't know you're legally obligated to do that until after you have handed over your money. That was insane. Like, when he said that, I mean, I'm here swapping batteries in my weed whacker. And I was like, wait a minute, I need to sit down for a second and digest this. And I mean, I'm swapping batteries, so I needed some to charge. Dude, this is Ubisoft held EA's beer. Now it seems Nintendo is taking a swig. Think about it. For those of us who have been in the adult world for a long time, and we've had, again, think about all of the things that you can buy, and you have to have a legal agreement with whatever it is. Some guy is always like, this is what this page means. This is what this page means. And if you tell that guy, I need to, and I'm actually thinking of my last vehicle purchase, which we just did a few months ago, found a great deal. And we needed a third vehicle because our other 2 vehicles were like back and forth between the shop. Anyway, long story short, we have a third vehicle as a backup now, right? 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is never enough, right? So, Weed Whacker has battery? Yeah, it's a Milwaukee. Anyway, it's got batteries. Anyway, moving on. But that guy put a bunch of papers in front of me and was like, this is what this paper means. And I sat there and I glanced at it and I read what I needed to. He says, and I said, I need to read this. He can't tell me no. He can't tell me, please hurry it up, sir. Because that is a violation of the law. Because I cannot even pull a loan. I can't even secure the funding until all of this paperwork has not only been signed, but also been explained to me in layman's terms, right? And that's why they're allowed to do that. This basically just says your rights and our rights and how, everybody agrees on stuff. They have to explain it that way. The video game industry is telling you that you are entering legal and lawful agreements with them, but with no prior explanation and after you hand over your money. This is something that I'm wondering if it were taken to court, if new precedent would be set, or if they would just fall back on old precedent and say, yeah, video game companies, you can't actually do that. One of the things that they might say is that, well, but movies, if you buy a movie, it says you can't distribute it. And we're like, that's different. That's different than saying you have to destroy your copy of that media. Because saying that, hey, we're the company, we're the IP holder, obviously, you purchasing this is just a copy, right? You don't have the legal rights to reproduce it, sell it, and devalue our product by flooding the market with cheap products. That's very different than saying you have no idea. And not only that, but I think that the Skull and Bones thing was, they actually had more of a live service model to it. They had more of that live service model to it instead of just the traditional like single player game, which is something. And he goes into this lawsuit and like reads more of it that was not disclosed in the marketing. Therefore, they're also saying that there's deceptive practices in the marketing, if not presented prior to purchase. Yeah, dude, this is wild. I never even thought about this. That right there. Just if it's a legal agreement that you're entering into, that requires a cash transaction, you have to be notified about that in the US. Am I wrong? Do we have lawyers that can correct me on that? I mean, this is a law student who drafted this. So, and he actually does cover this. He actually covers it again. He hits this point again in this. It takes like an hour to go through. I'm not going to go through this whole hour. I watched this. I'll shoot you guys the link in the chat right now. I love Legendary Drops. I think this channel is absolutely fantastic. This guy makes me want to figure out exactly how I want to do YouTube and how I want to do content in a way that I can produce content but do really like my version of it. Like, and that's why I'm doing the live streams right now. Cause I'm at such a loss right now. Cause I feel like I'm following a lot of people and doing what they're doing. And Legendary Drops started this because he said that like, he thought he could do what Yang Yao was doing, but do it better. And I'm like, okay, well, what can I do and who can I do it better than? And so check him out, please. There's the link. Go check him out.